Hello and welcome to the Yet to Be Named podcast. I'm Anthony.
I am Dre Santos.
And I'm Leo D'Souza.
And oh boy, do we have a very good podcast right now for you.
Yes, we do indeed. I am very excited to prove Leo wrong about The Last Jedi once again.
Try me.
But I will.
It's about to go down. Hold your horses, because we still have to do a few things before that. But yes, we're going to be talking about episode 8, The Last Jedi of Star Wars, one of the greatest movies of all time.
I completely agree with every single word that you just uttered out of your mouth.
Anthony?
Yes, Leo?
Anthony's not staying unbiased here. The reason why he's sitting next to me, there's a reason for that, my friend.
No, Star Wars is, and it is shown by facts that it's one of the greatest series of all time because it came out with not just one trilogy, not just two trilogies, but 3 trilogies over how many decades? I'm sorry, but facts show. So, but we're going to get into it.
Wait, he's talking about the Star Wars series, not episode 8.
I didn't say anything about episode 8.
Because you said it's the greatest movie of all time. Not
Movies.
Uh-huh.
All right. I'm not taking any bias on this one.
Yeah, I think
but
you are.
Before, as we always do, we have a beer of the week.
And the beer of the week is...
Oh, great. No, we're not going to pour that one. Just tossed it up, and then there it goes. Shake it up, man.
Boy.
All right. The
want me
beer,
to get another one?
You have one right over there, buddy.
All right,
Yeah, buddy.
All right. So the beer of the week is brought to you by Lord Hobo, and they're a brewery in Woburn, Massachusetts. And this one is called Museum. It's a limited release triple IPA, and their only description here it says juicy and hazy. It comes on a beautiful, and when I say beautiful, I mean beautiful 16-ounce can, and it has 11% alcohol. ABV, 11% ABV. In other words, we're about to get fucked up for this Last Jedi debate.
I guess. No, I'm not. Not a few sips isn't going to do that.
Bro, last week's night shift buzz beer totally screwed me up, man.
I mean, you had a good amount. Didn't eat, though. I don't know. We
That is true.
could have done so many things different.
I ate a shit ton of chips before this to make sure that I have my wits.
Look, he had dinner before this. Let's just state it that way.
I had dinner a couple hours ago. All right, so let's pick up our glass.
All right.
And let's take a look at this beer.
Now, this looks like orange juice for sure.
Okay,
it looks like the same thing as last time.
That's what I was about to say. The night shift buzz is very reminiscent. The color is very same hue, I would say.
Hold it up.
I mean,
it's basically the same thing.
I mean, no, because the buzz one was a little bit more paler than this one.
That is true. The orange
There's so much more color.
Richer in this one.
Yeah.
All
right, let's go for a smell.
Yeah.
Let's sniff it.
Ooh, it smells like...
Good. That smells good.
Yeah.
So it's like kind of like a stronger sense of pineapple, but like less. Like it's like...
You know what that means, Leo?
Again, like,
that's oh boy, Leo has been deceived by pineapple once before.
It's a mix of if you get like a ripe mango when you pull it off.
Yeah, I was about to say that mango.
Bro, the person who doesn't like beers is doing really well describing the olfactory olfactory characters of these beers.
Yeah, because I'm not gonna say stupid stuff like, oh, it's flowery, it's
but
earthy.
Hold on. Yeah,
it's not
you
stupid.
could say it smells flowery.
Like, yeah, you know, I had dirt from Oklahoma. It's not the same thing as the one from Tennessee. It's like, no, dude.
Okay, but to be honest though, I'm having a hard time kind of smelling things apart from the mango. Let's say mango peels.
Yeah. I think
apart from that, I don't. I do
smell
a lot
citrusy.
of hops. It smells like there's a shit ton of hops in here.
It smells citrusy to me. Definitely, you can smell the hops, but I mean, when you talk about a triple IPA and it's saying hazy, sometimes it's like the meaning is it's not very filtered very much. So you're gonna get that like oomph
But the smell
texture.
is not overbearing like Night
Oh, no.
Shift Buzz was.
All right.
Because Leo was pouring the beer last week, and boy, the room just filled. And this one,
yeah.
the smell is definitely, which means that, last remark about the smell of this beer, which means that the lupulin powder actually makes a difference in the smell of a beer.
Oh yeah, I can see that for sure.
All right, so let's
Taste test.
take a sip, and let's see what we think about this beer, and let's see most importantly what Leo thinks about this
course.
beer. All right, let's do this.
Oh God.
Ooh, yes.
Oh God.
It's back.
Leo.
Okay, all right.
Leo,
So
you-
Leo, what are your thoughts, Leo?
It's like a watered down version of last week's.
Hold on. But you have to take another sip. You can't.
You said 2 sips, bro. You gotta finish your cup.
Oh God, no. Oh God. Oh God, no.
No.
Honestly, I'll say it wasn't as bad as last week's.
Okay,
Okay.
so we're
It
getting
was-
somewhere.
It wasn't as bad as last week's.
So you'd say
It's a like I said, it's basically a watered down version of last week's. Like it goes down smoother.
Okay.
I'd say that.
Yes.
okay.
It's smooth.
And if I were to give it a rating,
Wait, before the rating.
yeah, you guys do your thing.
So I can definitely taste the alcohol in this.
Yes.
But what I also noticed is that the hops aren't overwhelming,
I like
which
the
is really
finish.
nice.
I like the finish. The finish is my favorite part of the beer. It leaves that hoppy bitterness on your tongue. It's almost, and it's like it's not a thirst quenching beer, but it gives me more thirst for the beer. Like right after, I haven't taken a sip in 30 seconds, a minute, my mouth is like, give me more, give me more.
Yeah, I can definitely. On your tongue, you can kind of taste. There's like an oil, you know, like just sits on there.
It makes
And
you
if you-
want more.
Yeah, and not only that, but like the way that it fills your mouth, you're not like, oh man, this is disgusting. You're just like, whoa,
Unless
that's
you're Leo.
interesting. You're kind of like going on a little roller coaster, trying to find out like what did they use. But you can definitely taste.
What
a
are you
little bit.
tasting?
I think citrus is
Citrus, yeah.
pushed so hard on this one. I can definitely taste that.
What did you taste, Leo?
A watered down version of last week's.
Okay,
That's what I'm
so-
tasting.
Well, let's describe that a little bit better.
Specifically,
What
is
did you
that?
taste?
Yeah, what is that?
It's like licking the devil's armpit mixed with a little bit of water. That's what it tastes like.
Okay. Well, with that in mind,
When we talked about how we describe the taste and we say flowery,
how the fuck do you know what the devil's armpit tastes like with a little bit of water, my
man,
friend?
you went to hell and back
I know,
with that one.
literally hell and back with that one.
I went to hell and back with that one, yes.
Yeah. What the fuck?
All right,
But
So-
I gotta be honest. I'm having, apart from the citrus, I'm having a hard time tasting anything else. It's the
really-
citrus and the bitterness finish, which I like.
Yeah.
Leo, what do you rate it?
Out of 10 or out of 5?
Out of 5.
out of 5, yeah.
1.
One?
Ooh, okay.
Really?
Still 1. But
Yeah.
you said that this is better than last week's. And
I
last
think-
week's you
no,
said
last
a 1
week-
also.
Last week, I thought it was out of 10. Last week was a 0. If it's
Ooh.
going to be out of 5, it's going to be a 0. This one's a 1.
Jeez, wow, okay.
At least we're getting somewhere.
Oh, I mean, it's 1 rating up, so we're getting somewhere.
Anthony, what about you? What would you rate
Man,
it?
I want to give it a 4.
Oh,
I
wow.
do, but
That's a high score.
I feel like there's a little bit, there's something lacking that it's not enough to say 4. So I'd say a 3.5.
Okay.
Yeah,
I will give this a solid 3.
solid
It's a
3.
solid beer.
It is.
Not the best IPA that I've had.
Nope.
Not the worst.
Mhm.
But it's definitely something that I would go back to.
Yeah, it's citrusy. They say juicy, and you kind of get that, but it's like, man, the alcohol takes a very
does.
centered point.
I'm
And
already
this-
feeling the alcohol. A little bit. I'm not joking. Bro, this bit can get you fucked up.
Can he hold a debate?
I think the debate will be even more interesting after I finish another cup of this one.
So unfortunately, we had some really bad
Nice
technical.
voice crack, bro.
Fortunately, we had some really bad technical difficulties, and we no longer have what we thought we recorded, and so now we're just gonna continue on as if it normally would.
That was a good. That was
Except
a,
we were wearing different clothes.
yes.
Yes.
That was a good hour conversation.
I should have snapped
that
my
is
finger.
gone forever.
Yes. Like actually
You
forever.
snapped your finger and half our footage is gone.
No, legit. Actually, 2/3 of our footage is gone.
Thanos came over and he was
God,
like, ha 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 ha.
So now it's 3 days later, and here we are talking again about
okay,
Star Wars.
I'm in
The
gray.
Last Jedi.
Dre's in gray. And apparently Leo is in white. So you know which side is which.
Rebel Alliance.
Oh, God. All right. So we're going to be talking about episode 8 of Star Wars. Is it any good? And
Different movie.
All right,
That's
let's
a Phantom Menace.
I was like, I don't
Duel
know
of the
where we're
Fates.
going
Come
there.
on, man. Come on.
Come on, man.
Bob Saget.
Bob
Saget.
has nothing to do with this, man.
Yeah, I know.
Bob actually was a really good grip
Yeah.
in The Last Jedi, so don't make fun of Bob.
Bob Saget.
Mm-hmm.
Bobby
He
Jr.?
was in Star Wars.
Yeah, of course, man.
No,
Yeah.
he wasn't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wasn't he that comedian from Full House?
No?
But he actually worked as a grip in Star Wars
Mhm.
The Last Jedi.
He was a real good
Watch it and then see all of the credits. You're gonna see Bob
Yeah.
Saget.
Bob Saget.
No way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
Crazy.
All right.
All right.
Whoa. All right. So, yeah, we're going to be talking about episode 8. And apparently, these two disagree.
Not.
I was about to say.
Just like in Borat, it takes like forever.
Not. All right. These two disagree about whether or not the episode 8 was actually any good. And, yeah, we're going to talk about that. We're going to see them argue. We're going to see them disagree. And that's about it. Like, right. So, Leo.
Are we still doing
No,
the
we start with
2-minute opening
Oh, okay.
statements?
Yeah, give us your review and then rate from 1 to 5.
All right. So for me, Star Wars: The Last Jedi was a much-needed breath of fresh air to the Star Wars series. After rewatching a couple of times, all the original movies, the prequels, I've come to realize as an adult that Star Wars is not that good. That Star Wars has a lot of flaws. That Star Wars is very silly, and that's okay. And that is why I say that The Last Jedi is probably the best Star Wars movie thus far. And it's the much needed breath of fresh air. It had great, well-rounded characters with well-rounded stories. They struggled and they learned and they grew. Every single major character did that. Best lightsaber duel of any Star Wars movie.
Oh, snap.
And I'll say that. The best.
Watch out, people that love episode, what was it, 2? I think it was 2.
1, The Phantom Menace with the Duel of Fates.
Yeah, bud.
Oh, the throne room fights was much better than Duel of Fates. I'm sorry.
Debatable. But
Yeah,
I was about
sure.
to
I
say,
mean,
yeah.
anything is debatable.
That was, but yeah, continue.
And I don't know. It felt real. The characters felt real. The stakes felt real. Even though it's not a perfect movie, I did not personally like Canto Bight. Even though I know that it was necessary for the story in some ways. There's no perfect movie. But with that said, I would give The Last Jedi the much needed fresher breath air that the Star Wars saga needed. A
what would you
4
rate
out of
it?
5.
4 out of 5? Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, who's getting there? Come on, man. Calm
Yeah, no,
yourself.
because he doesn't get
It's
to the
not
point
your turn
sometimes.
yet. It's not your turn.
Are you
Look
keeping
who's-
He
track
had
of
time.
Are you
Look
keeping
who's-
track of time?
He had time. Yeah,
All right.
I'm paying attention.
Look who's cutting me off.
I know. Look. Whoa. All
How
right.
the tables have turned.
Senor Souza. Go for it.
Wrong. All right. Anyways, next question.
Next question.
I felt that.
And cut. Okay, we're good.
Oh, shut up.
We got everything
Anyways.
we needed.
I think before we start rating the movie, we must first, we first must recognize that Star Wars is a cinematic masterpiece. It made movie history. When the first Star Wars came out, it was what they pulled off in that movie was unheard of.
Okay.
And it really marked, the beginning of this amazing franchise that people over the years have come to grow up with and love. And passed on to generations. The kids in the 70s watching Star Wars, and then they showed their kids their movies, and then they fall in love with the Star Wars and the characters, and they become heavily invested. We have comics, we have spin-off games, we have spin-off stories. Even Cartoon Network, they had the Clone Wars cartoon series, which it was awesome. It was amazing,
And my kids will not go away from a life without Star Wars. There is no way.
Yeah, exactly. So
even if they don't like it, I
will force them to like it.
You'll like it now.
One of the most classic lines in cinematic history is "Luke, I am your father."
Yes.
Right? So that's like, and then we must ask, who are the fans of Star Wars? Who are the people that are buying tickets? Who are people lining up to watch these movies? Who are the people supporting this amazing franchise? Right?
Mm-hmm.
And I felt that Star Wars Episode 8 totally neglected the fans of Star Wars, the people that has been supporting Star Wars for so many years. It neglected the original cast and what they thought and the way that and what they felt about the movie. Most notably, Mark Hamill, one of the key character of the Star Wars story. And I felt that Star Wars Episode 8 was not a movie made for the Star Wars fans, but it was a movie made for Rian Johnson.
Okay.
So in my rating, I'd give it a 2 out of 5.
Oof.
2 out of 5. That is.
Can I have a minute response to that really quick?
No. That's just opening statements.
I just thought about this though.
What?
Darth Vader is the first daddy.
What?
It's like the first daddy of like any film. You know what I mean? He's daddy.
I don't know. I don't know if that's true.
I mean, pretty much you got to think about it that way.
Hey Nick, our fact check. Can you fact check that? If Darth Vader was the first father ever in any movie ever?
No, the first daddy. There's no father of any movie. It's first daddy of any movie. And I will stand by that. I mean, come on, 1970.
Well, but here's the thing. The only thing that I will say, just to make it clear as we go on, I am a Star Wars fan. I love the Star Wars franchise. As I said, I negated to say this in this time around, but I said in the first time is that there's something about Star Wars that every time I watch it, I become a kid again. So I am a Star Wars fan. My father was the one that showed it to me. So, and I love Star Wars: The Last Jedi.
Your father showed you who daddy was.
Oh my God.
Yeah, that's
all right. Moving on. Let's move on before this gets awkward.
So that's what they think about of The Last Jedi, Episode 8, and you see that Dre really loved it. He loved how it went, and he gives it a 4 out of 5. And then Leo was like, "Man, I think they did a poor job." 2 out of 5. So we're gonna get down into what they actually disagree on the most. And one of the biggest things is
there are two.
One of
number
the
one
things is they really disagree about politics and the film industry and how that affected the movie. I'll just since I allowed him to Dre to start with the opening statement.
Well, but the question is, did politics ruin Star Wars: The Last Jedi?
Yeah, we can say, did it affect it? Did it do anything with it that would really detriment it, I guess. Leo, go for it.
All right. So my opponent, Dre, he might argue that politics was always a part of Star Wars history. And so seeing politics in Star Wars isn't anything new. However, you must keep in mind that the political climate has shifted dramatically over the years. We could argue that 30 to 40 years ago, Democrats and Republicans were more likely to sit at a table and have a conversation about things that they agree with or disagree with. They'll agree to disagree, but at the end of the day, they'll have a beer, they'll enjoy the party, whatever. Today, it became very, very heated. People are very divisive.
Yeah.
It became sort of this like mob mentality, this us versus them. So it became a very toxic, politics became a very toxic subject. And and then we might say, oh no, the director has the right to put whatever he wants in his movies. Sure. But remember, it goes back to my opening statement. Who are the fans of Star Wars? Who are the people supporting this? Who are the people who's been following Star Wars for many years? And most of them are men, are boys. Boys buying action figures, boys buying the video games, the boy buying lightsabers. It was most like I think it's safe to say that Star Wars target audience is boys, or like teenage boys or men, who later grew up to be men, who never got out of that phase because they fell in love with Star Wars so much. And then Star Wars Episode 8, by the way, I'm saying this like, I'm not a sexist or anything of the sort.
Loves the whammy.
I believe,
Oh my God.
I believe that you can do strong female lead characters, important female lead characters. I believe Rey was a very good female hero. I have absolutely no gripes with her in terms of her being a female hero, or Princess Leia being general of the rebel army. That I think that's fine. It makes sense. From going to a princess to a general, that's not so far fetched. I think what really ruined the movie, and I believe that in a movie like Star Wars, everything is done deliberately. There's no such thing as like coincidences or mistakes in a movie like that. And the sheer imbalance representation of women in the Star Wars franchise kind of didn't really make sense. And the fact that, like I said, the imbalance that the First Order, the primary villains and leaders of the First Order are white men. And then we have the rebels, the heroes. They are primarily women and people of color or whatever. Like I said, nothing against that. Also, I think Finn, he's a great protagonist, from going to being a stormtrooper and then joining the rebel side. I think that's like a really cool shift. That's something that hasn't been seen in Star Wars before. And I thought that was very interesting. So Rey and Finn being the two main leads of this trilogy, I think that's perfectly fine. And I was actually very interested in Star Wars: A New Hope, and I was actually really rooting for them. So I was
New
actually
Hope, Force Awakens, buddy.
Oh, The Force Awakens. I apologize.
Oh
my
snap.
gosh. He's outing himself as not a Star Wars fan.
Not a
Sorry,
Star
sorry.
Wars fan.
A slip of the tongue there.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Yeah.
The Force Awakens.
Slip of a fake fan. That's what it is.
So
Fake.
Finn and Rey being the primary protagonists in The Force Awakens. And
Jesus Christ, how long is this shit going to be?
It's 5 minutes, man. Come
5
on.
minutes? It
Yeah,
went up to
what?
5
Hey,
minutes.
hold on.
I
Hey.
thought it was 2
Who
minutes.
makes the rules
So-
here, all right?
Oh my gosh.
So-
Who makes the
I
rules
feel that
here?
like I think it wasn't done in a subtle way. I felt like it was very in your face, and it was sending out a very clear message that the heroes this time are the women and are the people of color that has never been represented before, and then the villains are going to be white men because they were always there. They always had that privilege of being represented. In my opinion, like I said, I would like if I was the director of Star Wars Episode 8, I would still keep the women and people of color. Like I'd still represent people of that sort. However, I'd make it more fair and make it more balanced. Have female villains other than Phasma.
10 seconds.
So I have female and people of color that are villains, and also females and people of color that are heroes. So I think that would be a more accurate and a more fair representation of people in film.
All right,
All right.
so I completely disagree with everything that Leo has said. Just for the fact that, number one, Leo, have you ever stopped to think about that maybe the fact that it is the First Order has primarily male leaders, and the Resistance has primarily women. And okay, to be honest though, I won't even say people of color, because I would say aliens. The First Order, just as the Empire,
Okay, excluding aliens. Aliens are aliens. Like, they're not even human.
But here's the thing. You said people of color. What people of color are inundating the Resistance ranks? The only two characters that are, let's say, of color is Finn and Rose. That is it. All the other characters are primarily white. Poe is white. Leia is white. She's a woman, but most of them are women. So I understand the whole thing of that. Star Wars was primarily created for boys. It's for a male audience. But here's the thing. The times have changed. Since the inception of Star Wars in the 1970s, girls have gone into Star Wars. And whether you like it or not...
When was the last time you had a conversation with a girl about Star Wars?
Not too long ago. Bro, I actually know a lot of girls that I can give you the names, but I'm not going to do that right now, that actually really do enjoy Star Wars. You can look at stories on social media about when Star Wars Celebration goes on. There are a shit ton of women there. Women have always been fans of Star Wars since the very beginning. You can get footage of the original opening weekends and the original lines of people lining up to see movies. Yeah, there were a lot of men, mostly men, but there were also women there. And the thing is that as time has gone on, as they have noticed, especially women, they have noticed, wait a minute, this Leia girl is not just a sex symbol. She's a strong female character. They have gone behind them and have really enjoyed the Star Wars as a whole. So I think for you to say that the fact that they're putting more women on screen is getting... is a disservice to the primarily male fandom. I think that's ludicrous. Because the times this is my time to talk, and now you're gonna be quiet because I didn't cut you off. Because bro, the times have changed, and women are getting more interested in Star Wars. And here's the thing that I was going to say about the First Order and the Resistance. Have you ever thought that maybe because of the fact that the Resistance has primarily women and aliens and people of color within their ranks, and the First Order has primarily male people in their ranks, leaders, is the fact that they are two different ideologies that handle leadership in different forms, where maybe the First Order might think that a male-dominant hierarchy of leadership is better than allowing women and allowing aliens and allowing other races to get into their ranks, where the Resistance, as the rebels were, they're more inclusive, they're more welcoming. In the original movies, it was the same thing. The Empire was predominantly male, and the rebels were more diverse. That is not something new. That is something that has been inherited from the original movies. So I think sure, I agree with you. Every single movie has a political agenda in some way or sort. Because what is a movie? A movie is art. And no matter how you try to slice it, your art is always going to have a little bit of you.
Unless it's cheese.
Your art is going to have your political views, your religious views, your philosophies about life. It is what it is. So I don't see a problem with seeing more women represented on the screen. I think it's insane to think that that's a problem. Because please, Leo, now I'm asking you and I want you to answer. Name one scene where Star Wars went out of its way in The Last Jedi to put down men as a whole and say women are better.
You missed the point of my argument. I'm not complaining about women not being represented or being
You're complaining that they're overrepresented in a movie.
No, I'm complaining of the imbalance of representing women as heroes when they can add
AKA, they're overrepresented.
They can be represented as villains too. I think it should be fair.
Again, but that's what I said. It's a matter. It's not a matter of overrepresentation. It's a matter of ideology of the difference between the First Order and the Resistance. Have you thought about that?
I don't know. Is that canon?
I just said that the Empire versus the Rebels. That was the case. Watch the original movies, my friend. You will see that the Empire is predominantly. I will even say predominantly. It is only men.
I do have a question then. When you talk about how it needs to be evenly balanced, what do you think of Captain Phasma?
Very underutilized. I felt like she was a wasted character. They could have done a much better job with her. However, they just basically introduce her into the first movie, and in the second movie, she goes off after one like fist fight with Finn, and then like we don't know what she's about, how a woman is leading stormtroopers, or we're assuming men. I think that would have been interesting to see, you know, what kind of like her leadership role in that. I think she was really underutilized. But here's the thing:
where would they ever fit a story like that? Think about how many new characters they had to introduce. I think Phasma, even though she's super interesting, she was probably designed to sell toys, and that's it. The same way as Boba Fett and Jango Fett in the prequels were designed just to sell toys. It's what happened is the fan reaction. The fans loved Boba Fett so much that he stayed on throughout the series. The same thing with Phasma. The fans loved Phasma so much, and they saw, let's say, a new version of Boba Fett that they wanted so much. In the original trilogy, Boba Fett is also done a huge disservice. He doesn't do shit. He stands around. He holds his thing. Well, tell me, what does Boba Fett do in the original movie?
Then
nothing.
In that case, I think it's just really bad writing on a director's part.
No, it's not that. It's the priority is not on that character. Again, think about what The Force Awakens had to do, bringing it back to The Force Awakens a little bit. They had to introduce a plethora of new characters. Thank you. Of new characters. And Phasma is not important at all.
Well, that's what it seemed like to me when they introduced.
How did they make it her to be super important? More important, like vital to the story.
In terms of her position, that alone already made her pretty important.
I mean, it's the same thing.
And her connection with Finn.
Well,
the fact that she's going after Finn, calling him like an alien scum or something like that. Maybe she knows something about Finn's past that we don't know.
It's the fact that she's calling a rebel scum because he is the only stormtrooper that she knows and she can actually has a relationship with that has gone to the other side. So that is why she's super pissed. First of all, remember, it seems like from the movie, the way they set up Phasma, there are probably other Phasmas, other generals like her. The reason why she has a connection with it,
wait,
but that's
on,
you're just speculating.
I think so. I
really
really think so.
No.
Because
look, it's only based on speculation.
Until we see
somebody else that has a chrome dome.
It is not speculation. It is not speculation. Rewatch The Force Awakens.
Until we see the next movie.
Rewatch The Force Awakens. When Finn leaves, Kylo Ren goes to Phasma and says, "How did someone in your ranks leave?" He questioned Phasma because Finn was under her authority. Therefore, if the Resistance army is so far and wide, there are other Phasmas.
I'm going to say until we wait and see the next movie.
It's not. She's
dead.
Address that. She's dead.
Well, we don't know that.
But the fact that I'm saying that is why she had the relationship, and that's why she's so pissed with Finn, because Finn detracted from the First Order under her authority, which made people question her capability of being a good leader. That's why she's fucking pissed.
You know, it'd be interesting though. What if she was a clone trooper?
I mean, there are clones amongst the ranks of the First Order.
Yeah, but they're not like I'm saying like an actual clone trooper of a woman instead of a man.
Oh, but that goes against canon. Leo's all about canon. That goes against canon.
Right. So yeah, do you guys think so? We're in an agreement that Captain Phasma wasn't utilized enough.
I mean, yeah, but I'm not. She's not designed to be utilized as much. It's
that's just poor writing. That is really poor writing.
But this is going to lead into the conversation that we also had is the fact that it's the over speculation of fans that ruined Phasma. You have to look at how she was set up in the movie. If my memory doesn't fail me, she wasn't set up in a way where she was this huge, important character. It's fans over speculating and over analyzing.
Would you say the same thing about Snoke?
Yes, I would. I would most definitely. You know why? Because in the original trilogies, who is the big bad villain of everything? Palpatine. Now, please tell me, Mr. Leo, before the prequels were released,
we only talk about
no, hold on. I'm making a point. Before
I
the
had
prequels,
a point to my question.
Hold on. But before the prequels were released, who was Palpatine?
He was the
Emperor.
That.
No,
any
before he was an emperor.
No. But we don't know that from the. I'm talking about before the prequels were released, just from the original trilogy. Who was Palpatine? Leo was right. He was the emperor. Do we know any other information about Palpatine?
Probably not. No.
No, we don't. Now, why are people so up in arms from what happened to Snoke in The Last Jedi if Snoke was set up in the same exact way and died in a very similar way that Palpatine died in the original trilogy?
Apparently Palpatine is alive.
Well, now he is, but I'm talking about the original trilogy. When he was first introduced, we did not know anything about him. He only actually showed up in the second movie. In The Empire Strikes Back, that's when he actually shows up. He shows up in the first movie of A New Hope as a hologram. And then he shows up in the second movie and then again in the third movie. But he dies without you knowing anything about him, where he comes from. So my question is, why the fuck are people all mad about the way that they treated Snoke in The Last Jedi? If he wasn't set up in a way that he was supposed to be the biggest, baddest villain ever. The only way that J.J. Abrams set him up in episode 7 was that he was a huge ass motherfucker. Hologram, as you see in the end. That's it.
I mean, the way that he set him up was he's the lord over Kylo Ren, and I would disagree with you. I had high
the same way that you my friend had high expectations.
Dude,
yeah, that doesn't mean me as a fan.
It's the way it was written. It was written to set up expectations.
Yeah.
No,
how?
Okay, show me then.
So
in the movie, how he was right.
So they can then subvert expectations and think that they're being smarter than they actually are.
No, I completely disagree
you
with you.
Disagree, but there are other people with opinions that agree with the statement.
But that's the thing.
It's hundreds of thousands of fans.
Okay, but those hundreds and thousands of fans, what happened? Because remember, the reason why people weren't all up in arms about the way the Emperor died in the original trilogies is because the fucking internet didn't exist back then. The reason why people were so pissed and were speculating so much is because of the internet. Is that now they have the tools to over-speculate and then connect with people that have the same theories as them. So when things don't go the way that fans want, they get mad. Again, prove to me that on the script, in the movie that we got from The Force Awakens, Snoke was set up in a way that he was supposed to be this humongous, important character.
Yeah, it was so obvious that he was set up in an important way.
Please tell me how. All you're saying, it was so obvious. How was he obvious?
It's just in the position of these characters. Position of Phasma. Phasma is like
we're talking about Snoke now. We're done with Phasma.
Phasma in the position that she was the leader of the Stormtroopers army. That's an important position.
Of her division. That is in the movie. That is an important. She is
regardless.
She's not the leader of the army. She's the leader of her army.
Regardless.
Platoon.
You're just speculating because we don't know that.
It is. Watch the movie again. Watch the movie again. Do you see? That's not speculation.
Regardless
all right, I'm cutting both of you off.
No.
All right.
No. He getting into it. Hold on. Let him say it.
Saying that you need to stop interrupting.
Snoke being supposed to be the guy that trained Kylo Ren and turned him into the dark side. That is pretty important, all right? So to say that, these characters were not set up to be important. Yes, they were, dude.
No, of course they're important, but the story is not about them. That's what I'm trying to make you guys understand, that Snoke was set up in the same exact way as Palpatine was in the original trilogy.
Exactly.
Whatever. Anyways.
Exactly. Why wouldn't you think he's a big badass?
Because we didn't think
because he doesn't have to.
Dude.
So that's what I'm saying. But the point that you're trying to make is that because he was
I don't
set up-
understand your
It's
point.
not- it's not
I don't
ex-
understand your point at all. Because he
because-
has to. That had made no
And-
sense to me.
Okay, so let me
And
explain
there's no
that.
excuse for bad writing.
No, it's not bad writing.
It is
No,
bad
hold
writing.
on.
No,
No,
listen.
I didn't say that. What I said is he was set up.
No.
I'm sorry, but
Yeah,
you are
he just-
wrong.
no, I
he
am
was
not.
set up
I am
because
not
he was
wrong.
on the
Guys, we're
hologram
at 30
just like he
minutes.
was.
Okay.
We're at 30
Just
minutes.
like
Okay.
Anthony.
just like how.
Hold
Shut
on
up!
a minute,
God
Leah.
damn it!
I know,
I
we
can't
see
get
it.
one fucking word out.
Why are you so mad?
Shut the fuck up. Anyways, he was
heated
set
here.
up as a hologram, just like our emperor, who we did not know who was. Okay, now. You can tell me all day that whatever fucking writing you saw, whatever script you fucking saw, or whatever, doesn't matter. He was set up the same exact way. And as a fan, as a true fan, I saw that and I was like, man, that guy must be a
And
badass.
as a true fan, I saw that, but when he died the way that he died, it also brought me back as a fan, as a motherfucking fan. It brought me back to how Emperor died, and that's why I wasn't up in arms about Snoke.
Oh, I wasn't
because
up in
guess
arms
what?
in that.
Guess what?
I didn't mind that at all. What I minded was that
problem-
you just said that he wasn't set up
But
right.
that's
not right.
I did not say. I said that he wasn't set up to be the main villain of the story.
Our
the
moderator
reason,
is no longer
Yeah, I
unbiased.
know. The reason why Snoke. What is the purpose of Snoke?
You tell me.
No,
Absolutely
No,
no purpose.
because I
after
don't
episode eight.
understand your position.
He does have a purpose. The purpose of Snoke is to set up Kylo as the real villain of the story. That's what he's there for. Because even though people hate the way that Snoke died, the reason why he died like that, the reason why he needed to die like that, so that people going into episode 9, you know exactly who the real villain is. The real villain of the story was never supposed to be Snoke. The real villain of the story is Kylo Ren. He is the real villain. He's the one that we should all be focusing on, and he's the one that we can. And here's the thing: the fact that I loved the reason why I loved the fact that Kylo Ren killed Snoke is because now I have a villain who I somewhat can relate to, but is the actual villain.
How?
Because we saw his journey from The Force Awakens of someone who is clearly distraught about his position. Someone who has been misguided and manipulated by Snoke, as we see in the first movie. And then in the second movie, not only was he manipulated by Snoke, but he felt betrayed by his uncle, by his Jedi master. So he has so many feelings about where he stands. And when he takes that stand, now here's the thing. In the first movie, he tries to kill the father because Snoke promised him, he said, if you kill your father, you will finally let go of the light. And then in the books, if you read the book, the novelization of The Force Awakens, which The Force Awakens unfortunately didn't go into that, but as soon as Kylo Ren kills, what's his name again? Han Solo, he feels terrible. So what he expected to happen, that he was finally going to go into the dark side, didn't happen. And now what is his train of thought? Man, for me to really be fully into the dark side, I have to kill my master. And that's what he does. He takes matters into his own hands. He becomes the villain. He is tired of being pushed down by other people.
So again, what do you mean? What do you mean by? I still don't understand what you mean by that. He wasn't set up right.
No, I didn't say that he wasn't set up right. He wasn't set up the same way as Palpatine
set up as
the biggest, baddest villain. He wasn't.
Because
he was
here's
a prop.
the thing.
Palpatine
We don't know
was a
what.
prop.
Can you hold on? Damn.
Because you asked me a question, I'm answering the question.
No.
Palpatine was a prop for Darth Vader. Snoke is a prop for Kylo Ren.
So
Darth Vader is the real villain. Kylo Ren is the real
Darth Vader
villain.
wasn't the real villain at the end of the day, though.
Exactly, but that's what made the story amazing.
Yeah.
That even the worst villain can be turned good, and that's where maybe episode 9 might go into.
So my point is that I still think they did set him up as a huge villain.
I disagree.
But the thing is that did not mean that it had to go that way. I did not mind at all that the way it went because it still was really awesome. It still was Star Wars. It still was really good. But what I disagree is that he was set up the way he was, but for the purpose that the next one he ends up dying, and it subverts our quote unquote subverts our expectations, but in a good way.
But that's where I disagree with Leo that it wasn't made just to subvert expectations, just for the sake of subverting expectations. I think you're
it created drama, which is good for a story, which is good for a movie.
Because
I'm all for subverting expectations if it's done in the right way, which I thought it was poorly used.
Wait, you don't think it was a really good scene when he ends up killing him?
Good scene, as in like, was it like awesome to watch? Like, yeah, sure, that was cool.
No, it's part of the story.
Story-wise.
What are you talking about?
Story in terms of story, it made sense, but I think it kind of came in too soon. I think like execution was the problem.
So how? Where else would that have happened? Kylo Ren in The Last Jedi is at a crossroads. He needs to do that. His path is leading to that. Because at an earlier scene, you see that Snoke is really suppressing him. He is talking down to him. And Kylo can't take it anymore. So he is at a crossroads. What do I do? And that's what brings him to that realization that the past must die. Kill it if you have to. Kylo Ren, that was his plan, to kill Snoke.
And I mean, it was really good though that you couldn't really.
And then he said something
that.
along the lines of like, forget the Jedi, forget the Sith. Let's just start something new.
Yeah, but then the person that he was supposed to start something new with said, "Nah, bro, I'm just gonna be in the light." And then that it pushed again. It's like
that's
the
after
fact,
he kills Snoke, though.
that the fact that I think Kylo Ren wanted to build something that was, let's say, in the middle. But the fact that Rey could only think about the light side, it pushed him even further into the dark side. And now they're completely opposite ends of the spectrum. For a few moments in the movie, a few scenes, they were meeting in the middle. But then after he kills Snoke, after they fight, they realize that they have completely different
plans. Then Snoke revealed that he was the one bridging their minds.
Yeah, they were. But again, Kylo Ren being smart and opportunistic, he saw, wait, this might lead into something. Because and the movie does set it up like that, okay. Where Kylo Ren, Rey is furious that this is happening. Kylo Ren is inquisitive. He's like, this is interesting. This means something.
Yeah, even in the first movie, or not the first movie, but the first part of the series, he's really interested in what's going on.
What's going on with Rey, which shows that Kylo Ren is wise. He's patient. Because look, and it shows that he let's say he's more mature in the Force than Rey, because Rey is like, get the fuck out of here. I don't want to talk to you. And he's like, something's happening, and I'm going to use it to my own advantage.
He wants to manipulate her just like he got manipulated. Yeah, yes. But I don't know. He's not. I wouldn't say mature.
I love Kylo Ren.
That very last scene.
I think he's the best. He's the best Star Wars villain.
He's good. No, he's a really good villain. All right, so we ended up going all around to Kylo Ren and Snoke. But my question for Captain Phasma had a purpose.
What is the purpose?
He's going to get
Oh, wow.
I know.
Yes. Let's keep talking while I'm trying to talk. So the fact that when I was bringing her up is because she's a woman with a very strong female role. She was actually the first female on any. I would probably say that, but I don't know exactly. But I'm pretty sure it is the first female on the Empire.
First Order.
Well, that's the Empire.
First Order, different. The Empire was destroyed right after a new what's it called?
Yeah,
the Return of the Jedi, and then the First Order is the remnancy of the Empire who went into the Outer Rim, and then that's when Snoke rose up to power, and then they came back.
Yes. So
not the Empire, the First Order.
Yeah, it's
under
Empire.
new leadership.
Yes. Yeah. It's Empire.
New name.
Under, you could slap whatever sticker you want to put on there. It's still the Empire.
The fact that she's the first woman.
Yeah, so she's a strong female leader that got introduced, just like how Rey is a strong female leader, or hero, and then villain. So the way that you were stating that is as if there wasn't a good mixture of both. The only thing I could see would probably be race. Race. Other than that. Just because I noticed that the way you said that, but we're kind of skipping over Captain Phasma and who she is and her role and everything. She's literally a general.
He didn't mention. He was just say apart from Captain Phasma.
But if you
kind of brush her to the side.
Yeah, they
did brush her to the side. I wish they used her more. It would have been more interesting.
Yeah, but she's still a strong female character, just like how
she's not anymore.
We don't know that.
I mean, again, yeah.
What's her name? Holdo.
Holdo. Yeah.
Yeah, just like Holdo.
Purple hair lady.
She's
That's
not.
how I call her.
Captain Feminism.
and that is, I think at the end of the day, Leo's and it's not that he's not anti-women at all.
No.
But the fact that people that tend to see these things in movies is that they see a lot of women on screen and instantly connect with, there's the liberal agenda ruining my fucking movies. I don't see that. And it's something that I get pissed off with people like that they go into movies looking for shit like that. And it just fucking ruins the movie experience. Star Wars, at the end of the day, it's for kids. It's about space wizards waving around their laser swords.
We don't go in looking for that. I don't like.
But then you automatically see a lot of women in the screen. You're like,
I went into Last Jedi with absolutely no expectations, and it was very overt, like the message that they were saying across. And keep in mind that
what is this message? What is this message? You can't say something like that and not say the message.
Yeah, what's the message?
Before you say it, please tell me what message they were trying to get across.
Keep in mind that people don't see politics only in movies.
They hear politics everywhere.
They hear politics in the news. They hear politics in school.
Of course.
Like they hear politics like advertisement, like posters, whatever it is. It's all over the place.
Yeah.
And some people, they're sick and tired of politics because, like I said, it's become such a toxic topic that sometimes some people just want to avoid it.
But
they
what
just
I'm
want
trying
to sit down,
say,
watch a movie, and enjoy. Just turn off from what's going on in the world.
We 100% agree. But the fact that gets me mad is that when people see something so simple as more women on screen, they go berserker mode. They get mad. Stop looking for shit like that. Stop.
I'm not mad.
I know you're not mad. No,
you
you didn't come off mad. You're not mad. But let's say people that didn't like the Star Wars, The Last Jedi, because more women were represented.
In that case, I would disagree. Yeah, I don't think people should be up in arms about, oh my God, female leaders, because like it's trying to say like Holdo and Poe thing was all about a female dominating a man. I didn't see it that way. I saw it as like, they're trying to put in, fill in more women into these important roles. But like I said, I just felt like it was a really imbalanced. They could have made it more realistic or shared it.
But again, they did balance between the two sides, the dark and the light side. That is balanced. One side has predominantly women and aliens and other races, and the other side is predominantly men. There's a balance.
I think we have a different view of balance.
No, but that is a balance. If you look at the whole movie, that is your balance that you're looking for.
Like imagine if you want to make the color gray, and then if this is your canvas, you want to paint gray. All right, all my white is going to go here, and all my black is going to go here.
Yeah, but
like
again,
when is the gray going to happen?
No,
the
but
gray,
it doesn't happen in a movie like that. It's about good and evil. That's the thing. It's two opposing ideologies.
Right, and it's white male
villains.
Yeah, villains that are evil.
Yeah, but remember
the Aryan race.
Who was the Empire was created after who?
Yes, exactly. That was my point.
Here's my question.
No, but hold on.
Who was the Empire?
Who was the Empire created after in the original movies?
Mm-hmm. In the 70s.
Nazis.
Yeah. The Germans.
It's clear. They're
not
just
to say
following...
Germans are bad now.
No, the Nazis. They're following the same ideology.
Okay, but Nazi Germany is over. Like we defeated in World War II. The first movie, like you said, times have changed. I'm going to use that argument in my favor. Times has changed. Why can't we have black villains, female villains, alien villains? Why must it always be predominantly white men?
Because maybe in the story, in the Star Wars galaxy, the ideology of the First Order is that men, and sure, white men, are the ones in power. It's simple as that. I don't think you should be looking too much into that.
Yep.
Star Wars as it is, even though there's more women in one side and more men in the one side, it's still escapism. See, here's the thing. I saw the same movie that you saw, and none of that bothered me. I didn't even notice. We were watching together last week for research purposes, and there was a part.
Yes, only research purposes.
Only research purposes, not
entertainment
entertainment purposes.
Any of this.
No.
Yeah.
There was a scene where there's a lot of women, and you're like, "Oh my gosh, that's a lot of women on screen." And bro, to be honest, I did not notice that at all. So that's sort of, and this is my last point about that. Is that I guess some people's brains, and maybe it's about who they listen to when they go into movies made by Hollywood, which has somewhat of a liberal agenda. They go into movies already
They're already guns ready.
Yeah, they're guns to notice these things. And for me, someone who doesn't follow people like that a lot, which I don't really think about those things unless it's overt and on the face, on the nose, as it was for that robot in Solo. Which I was just like, what the fuck is going on? This does not belong in Star Wars.
Bad. It was so bad.
For The Last Jedi, I did not think that, sure, could they have had a liberal agenda? Yeah. Is the fact that women are more represented, is that because they're trying to push equal representation? Yeah. Could the fact that maybe they represented white men as the evil guys intentional? Maybe. But I'm not gonna let that.
Oh, definitely.
No,
Definitely.
see,
but
that's
okay.
That's but
we only have a few more minutes.
But let me just finish. Let's just finish that point. It may be, but I'm not gonna let this ruin my Star Wars until it really gets overt as it did in Solo.
Yeah,
like
aka
on the
the
nose. I don't even know
robot,
her name.
Yeah,
she was an SJW robot,
and it was annoying. So bad, annoying, and not even a part of the story. It wasn't even good.
So movies can be Star Wars movies can continue to be escapism.
Yeah,
it's about you and how you choose to view the movie. Not you, but like people that watch it. It's about how we watch the movies.
Unless you watch Han Solo, then don't.
Yeah. And it's the same thing with story. We were the ones who built up Snoke. We were the ones who theorized about him for 2 years. We were the ones who theorized about Rey's parents for 2 years. And when things didn't go the way that we wanted, we were mad. And that's okay.
But that's the thing. Like, we can't get mad at that because we need to watch the story without any
We can't get mad because we have to understand that it's not our story to tell. Yeah. It's not my story.
And sometimes being subverted is good. But so you got your final word on that, and let's allow Leo.
Final word, Leo.
Get your final couple of minutes.
I promise I won't cut you off.
All right. Final word.
I will not cut you off.
So
Leo, did you know that I'm not gonna cut you off?
All right, yes, you made yourself very
clear. He's getting
clear.
tired of this.
So Dre said that like no, it is not our story to tell. To which I will push back a little bit because I feel like if anybody in the entertainment business, especially in a franchise like Star Wars, you are doing it for the fans because the fans are the ones that are supporting you. The fans are the one that making your movie happen.
But we don't tell the story.
Because if you because if you don't have fans supporting you, if it's not on demand, if people are not watching what you're producing, you're not going to make money and you're not going to continue. So in a sense that, yes, you are making it for the fan. Of course, do you have to give in to the whims of every whim of your fans? No, of course not. But I feel like you should always keep the fan. Like Mark Hamill in his interviews when he was talking with Rian Johnson, Mark Hamill's like, Ryan, I don't really agree with how you're handling Luke's story. I think you should consider the fans, and then Rian Johnson's like, no, I'm not going to. This is my story.
Okay, first of all, that's not how that conversation went. Now you're making shit up. The only thing, we watched this together, is that Mark Hamill said, I've had a fundamental disagreement with the way that
this was a press tour.
that Luke was, but I'm pretty sure that that's not how the conversation went.
It was a press tour.
What?
It was not the one that we watched.
Okay, so please show it to me after this podcast because I'll love to see it.
Yeah.
All right. So with that, I just want to say thank you guys for continuing to listen to us babble back and forth and continually arguing with Dre having to scream off the top of his lungs in order to make his point.
I just get passionate about it, guys. I'm sorry.
And me having to say shut the fuck up in order for me to make anything, say a word.
You know when Anthony curses that he has had it.
It is very frustrating, but
we're still
alas,
friends.
we are still friends. We
Even
are still continuing to enjoy our beers, enjoy our conversations, enjoying our water.
Except Leo. He still doesn't enjoy beers.
No.
One day he will.
Unlikely.
So again, thank you so much for watching if you're on YouTube, and for listening if you're on Spotify, Google Play, or Apple Podcasts. Because you know what, you guys, whatever you guys are listening, whatever you guys are watching, it keeps us, moving. It keeps us rolling.
We do it for the fans.
Yeah, we do. If you want to see something different, please.
No, we really do it for the fans.
If you want to see something different, please let us know because we'll change everything.
As Anthony is looking for the last year, which he still hasn't put it on his phone. we just wanted to say that we love having these heated debates. And I just wanted to double down on what Anthony said, is that at the end of the day, we respect each other. At the end of the day, we're still friends, even though we might have to say, shut the fuck up so the other person can talk.
Yeah, we still love each other. We're still going to continue to be mad at each other one day and the next day love each other, but we're going to still be together and still have conversations.
And that's the point, is that we can fundamentally disagree with one another about something, but we can still find common ground and we can still be friends.
And
Exactly.
somehow, even if we completely disagree, compromise on that idea without having to tear our heads off.
Exactly.
All right. With that said, to the past, present, and future, may we drink to celebrate the past. May we drink to enjoy what is before us. And when the glass is empty, may it mean that we may start a new adventure.
Cheers.